several common pathways, but it's actually, I never really thought about it this way. So let's go through this. Let's take a little detour into autophagy land. One of the things that signals autophagy is low ATP. So low energy, low intracellular ATP is a global signal for autophagy, and that's mediated through the upregulation of adenosine monophosphate kinase, or AMPK. So when ATP is low, AMPK is revved up. That is a signal to autophagy. Another pathway to autophagy is low mTOR. So when nutrients are low, but in particular amino acids are low, mTOR activity goes down, and that becomes a signal to autophagy. A third signal to autophagy is the reduction in the cytosolic pool of acetyl CoA. And as you know, we have a podcast coming up with Eileen White where we're going to go through all of this stuff in great detail. So I'm going to brush up on this. But my recollection is that the way that the cell checks for low levels of acetyl CoA, which is just a metabolite of glucose and fatty acid, so again, it comes down to nutrients or fuel, is looking at protein deacetylation. So as protein deacetylation goes down, which is just the process of putting the acyl group from acetyl CoA onto protein, onto the lysine residue in particular, if my memory serves me correctly, when that process goes down, so when you see less acetylation, less of these acyl groups going onto lysine, that's a sign, hey, intracellular acetyl CoA levels are getting low. That's also a trigger for autophagy. Now, I don't know the answer to your question, Bob, but if you ingest beta-hydroxybutyrate, I think we make beta-hydroxybutyrate out of acetyl CoA as one of its substrates, but I don't know if the influx of exogenous BHB would trip up one of those systems that we just described and therefore shut off autophagy or at least attenuate it somewhat, which would of course be counterproductive. This is actually a great question for Dom and for Eileen. So with both of those podcasts coming up, hopefully you can remind me to ask those. Now, to answer your question, I think your first question was how long does it take after you ingest these things to see a rise in ketone, right?
Yeah.
Now, my recollection is